Hi everybody, welcome back to our kitchen at Amici's. We had some exciting news this week. We were able to have people and our customers come back in and dine with us, so it's been going really well from both ends of it. A lot of people have been patient, very understanding while we've been transitioning from takeout to patio back inside. So everything's been a lot of changes, but everything's going well, and I thank everybody for sticking with us. Today the recipe that I chose was actually asked of me, so I decided why not. And this was just added onto the Amici's menu maybe 2 years ago. We did not start out with this dish. However, so many people have had it elsewhere and kept asking for it, so we decided to make it ourselves. And it's so easy that now you're going to be able to make it yourself. Usually we do recipes that have 5 ingredients. And although this doesn't really have much more than that, you should basically have everything again in your pantry. The only thing you may not have is ricotta cheese, because a lot of people don't carry that, or maybe an eggplant itself. If you love eggplant, you'll probably always have it because it's very versatile. But today we're going to fry it, and we're going to make eggplant rollantin. So the word eggplant in Italian is melanzane. It's a plant. It grows on a plant up top of the garden, and you can get, there's a couple different kinds. There's a Japanese eggplant, which is thinner, and then there's just regular eggplant right here. I got asked, how do you tell if an eggplant is ripe? Well, you just press on the skin here, and if you see how it gives with my thumb, it's soft, that means it's ready. If it was hard and unripe, you wouldn't be able to press on this. So it has nothing to do with the top or the bottom. It's just basically the skin. You can press it, indent it, and it'll come back up. And that's the sign of a perfect eggplant. This is a little on the small side for restaurant quality. When we do our rollantin, we like to get them a little bit bigger. But do keep in mind they're kind of like a pumpkin or kind of like a squash. The bigger they get, the less flavor they have. So you got to pick them at just the right time. So what we're going to do basically is we're going to take this eggplant and transform it into a delicious meal. A lot of people stick their nose up at eggplant right away until they try it, and we always make everyone try it. So we're going to peel it, and then we're going to do our breading station. And anytime you see these 3 ingredients, the flour, the egg, and the breadcrumbs, you know we're going to fry it. And automatically that kicks it up a little bit because frying is delicious. I've got my tools with me. I've got what it takes to make the filling inside. I happen to have a deep fryer here, so it's easy for me to fry it. And of course we have the oven on. The only ingredients you really needed today was marinara sauce, mozzarella, you needed an eggplant, a little bit of salt and pepper, and ricotta cheese and stuff to make the egg wash. So that's not too bad. So let's get started. I'm going to show you how to cut this and peel it and then slice it. So we come really close. I like to move the top up. Of course, this has been washed already, so we're good to go, even though we're taking the skin off. And I cut it right at the very top. And we're gonna get rid of that. And then I do cut his little bottom off here, because that's gonna help us to stabilize things. And then we're going to take just a potato peeler, and we're going to start to peel down. Just like you would a potato, an apple, turnip. And these should be fairly easy to peel, especially since the skin is softer. Don't worry if you get a little left behind. A lot of people always ask us if our eggplant has skin on. I don't like it that way, so I take it off. I never had it that way, but I don't like the skin. All right, so I'm gonna peel him all up. People are very curious about eggplant. They're like, well, I don't want anything, I never had it. It's a great vegetarian dish. You can also just chop it up and saute it with garlic and olive oil, a little bit of tomatoes, and that's also a great dish. Okay, so now we're going to take it, we're going to try to stabilize it. And if you wanted to make eggplant parm, you could cut them this way so you get the circular shape and then stack them. Or you could do it long ways. We do it long way at the restaurant because we like to give a bigger piece. So we go this way. And what I'm going to do is a little bit odd shape, but I'm going to try to make them as flat as I can here. And don't worry, we're not going to throw this out. We're going to saute it up later. People ask for mixed vegetables at the restaurant. We throw an eggplant in there. Okay, now typically you could slice it with your knife and go down, and you want thinner slices with this. So that's why it's a little bit tricky. If you don't have really good knife skills, you may get a fat on the end and then a real skinny. It's not going to fry up right. So the best bet is to use a mandolin. So a mandolin is basically just it'll cut everything for you. And let me just tell you, this blade is so sharp, it'll take your finger off. So you gotta be very careful. Okay, so on the side of it, it gives you all different levels that you can change the thickness. If you wanted to do purple onion, you would bring it up really thin like that, and it just cuts like paper. Or if you wanted to do baked potatoes, you get it real thick like that. And that's how we're gonna do the eggplant today. Because even though we want thin slices, we don't want them like paper because they won't hold up in the oil. Okay. What I'm doing is dangerous. I'm using my hand. This piece of equipment comes with something that you put in here and you pull down. But unfortunately in the restaurant, when you go through different dishwashers, sometimes we lose pieces of tools. And this we happen to. So I'm very, very careful with this. But I'm just going to do a couple slices before it gets really low. So you just pull back and you're like, well, what happened to it? Well, here it is. And see the thickness of it? This is going to be great to be able to roll after we're going to do a couple more because we want the biggest slices here. And then we're going to keep slicing them. Here he is. And one more ought to do it. That is all over the eggplant. Okay. So, we're going to save the eggplant, and then we're going to put him in an egg wash now. So basically we have, whenever we do any type of breading, we do flour, and then we do the egg, and then we do the breadcrumbs here. And then I already had it already done, trying to make these nice and easy for you. This was basically 3 eggs, and then I added a little tiny bit of milk into it to thin it out. I had another one in case I needed it, but I really just don't. And then we're going to take the eggplant and then we put it in the flour. Remember how we showed you? It's flour, egg wash, breadcrumb. And if you were to leave these out, they would start to turn brown. So if you're making eggplant parm and you want to make sure that you don't get a lot of moisture in them, you could put a little bit of salt on them with a paper towel, and that would take off all of that extra moisture in there because these do hold some moisture in there, so sometimes you could get it and it could be a little bit soggy. Okay, so I've got these done, and now we're going to go in here. You could probably do the breadcrumb if you want to. Let me see who's on while I'm watching. Hi, guys. Hi, Fred. I will see you tonight. I see my friend Barb, and Kathy and Sullivan is up in New York. Let's see. My friend Christine is watching. My friend Kelly, congrats, girl. I know you're in Ohio and you just got engaged. Congratulations. And I know my friend Shannon is watching. She asked me for this recipe specifically. She absolutely loves these. Okay, so Abby is doing the eggplant here. Let's try to do one more. All right, she's pretty talented. She's holding the camera.
I've done this so many times.
Yeah, she has. She learned to egg wash a long time ago. Okay, so they're pretty much done.
Yeah, usually we do about 3 slices of eggplant per order. What do we have, 4 here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that last one here is a little bit,
It's
a little
for
bit
us,
tiny.
it's
He's a
fine.
baby. So, okay, so now I'm going to show you the filling. The filling is basically ricotta cheese. You know, we just get this at our Italian distributor. I have fresh basil, always. I have it even at my house because I just love the smell. It's like perfume. I have Parmesan cheese, salt and pepper, and this is our mozzarella. I got it shredded already here because it's easier to put on top of things. And then of course over there I have my fryer going. So we're going to take the eggplant and we're going to take the ricotta cheese, and then we're going to just make I'm trying to get my glove on here. I never wore so many gloves in my life lately.
Yes, there's flour in it. We did it. It was the very first step with the eggplant. So flour, egg wash, then the breadcrumbs.
There you go.
Then fry next, right?
Yes, we're going to fry them up. And while they're frying up, we're going to, we don't want to overcrowd. See, I have the luxury again of having the deep fryer here. If you had a saute pan, you could put them in there. And they're going to fry up pretty quick, depending on how hot the oil is.
An air fryer, you probably do.
Yeah, you're right, an air fryer. That's one of those new things. We like to do chicken at night in the air fryer. You can see how it's bubbling all around and they're turning golden brown, and that's what you want. Now we're going to flip it over. We don't want to fry it so that it's too hard because you won't be able to roll it. Now if this was an eggplant parm, it would be perfect. You would put the filling in between the eggplant and then bake it in the oven, but we still need it to have a little bit of give so that it'll roll, because we're going to fill these with a lot of goodness. And I can tell when I press on them with this the tongs here that they're still a little bit hard in the inside. So we're going to turn them again. Eggplant day is my favorite day at the restaurant because I like to take them right from here and put a little salt and pepper on them, and then I like to just eat them like that. All right, so I'm going to let those drip because we don't need all that excess oil, so we're going to let them sit for a few minutes, and plus they're very hot to the touch. And I'm going to make you the filling now. Now this is one of those lucky recipes you really don't need to measure. I'm going to just take a couple tablespoons here. I'm only making 4 right now, so I don't need much, but if we were making this for the restaurant, we would have a big, we'd probably use this whole thing, because we make a lot. So look how nice and creamy this is. Now this is good to make like cannoli with. You know, you could put this just in plain pasta with a little marinara. I love it, believe it or not, with cinnamon and sugar. I know that seems strange. Okay, maybe I'll just put a tiny bit more. And to this, I'm going to add Parmesan cheese. Give a little flavor. I'm going to add a little pepper and a little bit of salt. And then I'm going to take some basil and I'm going to cut it up for you guys. And I like that basil flavor. I love basil flavor in everything possible. So last week, I'm not sure if I explained it, if you wanted to chiffonade basil or any type of herb or leafy green like this, you stack them and then you roll them like this. And then you carefully cut like this. Keep pushing it forward, and we don't want the stem, so we're going to stop there. And this is called chiffonade. And you take them all apart, and then it's nice enough where you can get it in every bite, but it's not too big, you know? So we can even actually, remember I told you last week, take your knife, keep it down on here, and just go back and forth like this. And that's also cutting them. Okay, so we're gonna put this in. I love the combination of it, and it's gonna add a lot of flavor. We're just gonna mix this all up. Now, if you were making like a lasagna and you wanted to do ricotta, a lot of people do that. Typically in Italian recipes, it's not ricotta cheese. They make besciamella, which is with flour and milk and a little nutmeg and butter. But we're doing this with ricotta cheese. So I think that's pretty much all mixed up. All right, we're gonna make a little room here because we're gonna take our eggplant now and then move this out of the way. And then, okay, let me get them out of the fryer. And you see how they're still a little bit soft, but they're fried? That is perfect. We're just gonna line them up here. Here's another. Now, like Abby said, typically we do 3 or 4, depending on the size. We can't get a really big eggplant. We want everybody to make sure they have a nice portion, so we'll do 4 this time because after we roll these, you know. Okay, so I'm going to put this ricotta mixture on here and I'm going to just spread it. This is really easy, guys. You're gonna love it. You're gonna say, wow, I can't believe this. There's really not a lot of difficulty to cooking simple meals like this. I'm not gonna take anything away from, you know, chefs who make these extraordinary meals because that really is a talent. But this is just a kitchen recipe that everybody can do. You don't want to overfill them because they are already fried. So when you put it in the oven, if you leave it in there a long time, guess what? Your eggplant is going to be overcooked and mushy. And we're going to do one more. We're going to do this little baby guy. We want to see if we can roll him up. I bet you we can. Okay. It's not too hard, right? This might be the difficult part. Okay, so we're going to get a pan that you can put in the oven. It could be a Pyrex baking dish or anything, but these are able to withstand like 500-degree ovens. So I'm going to put them in here. At first, I'm going to put, as a layer on the bottom, I'm going to put marinara. Because you don't want to put them just down because they'll stick. It's like anything else, you know, you gotta put a layer down. You could, if you didn't want to use marinara, you could use like the baking spray. You could do them with that. But we're just going to put a small little layer here of the marinara. I'm going to leave that because I'm going to use it again. And we're going to start to roll. And basically I'm going to go from the small end to the big end. And he's going to stay tucked in there. And just like that.
Annie and Betty said it's one of their favorites, the eggplant.
Sure is. A lot of people's favorite. We, all the time, we try to make them, we try to prep them a little bit ahead of time because on a busy day, we cannot, well, it looks like just 3 might just fit in here right now. But you know what? Let's not leave him out. Small end to big end. There, we don't want to leave him out. So this is going to be a really nice portion right here. And what I'm going to do next, we're going to put a little tiny bit of marinara back on the top. It's just to give it flavor and to protect it in the oven because you don't want it to get burned in there or overcooked. We're going to spread this around on them. Now Shannon, you'll be able to make your own of these. It's her favorite. Okay. And then to that, we're going to add the mozzarella cheese on the top. And you might not want mozzarella. You might just want Parmesan, whatever you want to put. But everybody knows this is the king of cheeses. Okay. And I'm actually going to do a little bit of Parm on top of this, just for a little bit more flavor. We're going to come over here to the oven. And we're going to put him in. So it's a 350 oven for about 15 to 20 minutes, because remember, it's already cooked. We're basically just melting cheese. So we're going to put him in.
There it goes.
Cooking away. And I actually have one here that we made. This would be like the size of the portion at the restaurant. As you can see, it's got like the cheese inside, and it's got the melted on the top. And basically, you could just go right ahead and eat this as is. But we'll go ahead and we'll take it out. Take one out and show you guys what this looks like. And we're going to cut into it. And see inside, it's got all the ricotta cheese in there. So it's really, really, every bite is so delicious. And yeah, of course I'm going to take a bite because I made it. I know it's good. We cooked it perfectly because I can still taste the eggplant. We cut it thick enough where it's not just like paper and falling apart. I can actually taste the eggplant. And this is why you kind of want to take the skin off, because if you didn't, then you might taste a little bit of toughness from the skin. I can taste all of the ingredients inside, the ricotta cheese and everything with the basil. And then, of course, our marinara sauce, which is magical. So I hope everybody that always comes in or asks or has questions about eggplant and rollantin, I hope you see how easy it was to make this. You can pretty much find eggplant anywhere. Any produce section has it, and now you know what to do with it. If you don't want to roll it, the next step would just be to lay it flat, and then you can make a Parmesan with it, and then bake it in the oven like that. If you don't want to do any of the, if you say, well, you know, they have gluten-free breadcrumbs, they do, and we use those sometimes, but you could also, typically in Italy, they don't even bread it. They slice the eggplant, and they put the cheese in between, and they cook it that way. So this is the American version, which I like fried. And I'm sure you will too. So I hope you enjoyed coming in the kitchen with me today, and I hope you try to make this. When you do, a lot of people send me pictures of the products that we make. They Facebook them to me or message them, and I love it because I'm glad to see that everybody's doing something during this time, and if I can help you out, learn to cook a little bit, I'm really happy about it. So everybody have a wonderful afternoon, a great weekend. It's supposed to be beautiful, and get out and enjoy and eat well.